Yo, what's good, bro? Today I'm going to show you how I make crazy, realistic sounding guitar melodies without a real guitar, just using VST plugins. I'm gonna break down all the secrets, how you have to think to get to those realistic sounding guitars, and that's the guitar I'm going to break down today. But it's not so much about the melody today, it's more about the guitar pattern. And this is the pattern itself. I'll play for you. First thing when you're making those guitar melodies, what you want to look out for is that you think like a guitar. What I mean by that, if you look at a guitar, let's pull this up. If you look at a guitar here, there are 6 strings and you must think or create those melodies in MIDI as if you were playing them in real time with a real guitar. So what I mean by that is, don't make your chords like these. This would be a piano chord, but you have to think like a guitar. So when you're playing guitar, you know that this is from the E string, from the lowest string, and you play this one on a higher string and this one on an even higher string. If we'll check that out, you can see where it plays the notes. So it's spread out over more octaves. And if we were to put it all together, you see it will be alternating on the same string, and that's not realistic. So always space your chord outs at least over 2 octaves, maybe sometimes even 3 octaves, but 2 octaves should be good. Just to sum up this point, you have to think like a guitar, so don't just mush your chords together like you would play them on a piano. Space them out over at least 2 octaves. The next thing to make it more realistic is you have to adjust the velocities. One thing I can say here is you have those passing through notes. These notes in the middle are not so important, and that's why I'm lowering the velocities on all of them. If all the notes were hitting with the same velocity, it would sound like this. Those middle notes of the chord, so the notes that don't have a real emphasis, pull them down. You can see all those middle notes here are way more quiet than all the other notes. And this just makes them that you don't really hear them at all, but they're still there and giving it the movement and this realistic feeling. What you also want to do is you want to randomize the top and the lower notes. Just hit Alt-R and randomize them. Now, one last thing before we go to effects is the rhythm. Especially when making guitar melodies, we're gonna use a triplet bounce. The notes are playing in a triplet structure. So there are 3 notes in one beat. That just gives it that bounce and that fast-paced style. One final trick you can use that will always sound good is, as you can see, the second pattern is the same as the first pattern, just pitched down 5 semitones and pitched up an octave. So that's one thing you can always do, is take a second pattern, pitch it down, or you can change the chords. For this time it's always the same chord, same F minor chord, and then here it's a C minor chord. Now let's talk about effects. This is what the melody sounds like with no effects at all. Definitely sounds alright, but with effects it's just so much better. So what I did is I have an EQ which cuts out all the lows, especially vinyl production. There's not a lot of low end. So we'll cut that off at around 150. And then you want to add some vinyl effects. So important to add some more texture, to add some more flair to it, to add some reverb as well. I used RC20, but there are a lot of other plugins you can use. I think Isotope Vinyl is a free one if you don't have RC20, so just go by that. And this is pretty much what these effects do. Now let's put those 3 things we just learned into action and make a new guitar melody. So I've pulled up the same guitar from Ilya Efimov, and let's make a new pattern with what we've learned. So I'm definitely going for a minor chord. Let's pick a D minor chord this time. I'm gonna do a G minor chord because the guitar ends on an E. So this is actually the lowest note we could use. So let's take a G minor and C from there. Now we have our basic pattern. Let's adjust the velocities because it still sounds a little bit trash. So let's take the middle notes and put them down. Actually, let's take all the velocities, lower them. Let's put the BPM to 130. Let's take the bottom and the top notes and randomize them. Alright, let's add some EQ and some vinyl effects to finish it off. Let's export it out so we can pitch it down a little bit further, 4 semitones. Hey, and that's the final melody we came up with. I think it sounds really realistic, and yeah, just use that for your guitar melodies and they will transform to the next level. Hope you enjoyed the video, bro. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.